Bishop Gaiters, you've quickly become one of the most popular guests on Crowdsource The Truth. Welcome back, sir. Lovely to see you again.
It is a great honor to be back with you, my friend, on this part 4 of the Kobe Bryant Luciferian Project completed series on this Super Tuesday here. So we're really looking
Yes.
forward to unpacking this very explosive series here today.
Indeed. And there's just been such a tremendous response to the previous videos that you've been doing about Kobe Bryant and this terrible crash, but more so focused on some of the really seemingly inexplicable connections that Kobe Bryant has made reference to with regard to the occult and Aleister Crowley, the use of sigils and symbology and inversion and all kinds of unusual things. We're going to really be digging into that today. And although we expected the series to conclude with 3 parts, because there's such an overwhelming amount of information and people demanding to hear more, we had to do a 4th part. And before we get underway, Bishop, I want to remind everyone that they can support you in your global spiritual revolution by going to paypal.me/GSRR Media Group, and they can make a contribution of any amount. Obviously, the more, the better. And people can also listen to you, Bishop, on liferadionj.com/Gaiters. They can hear you on iHeartRadio. They can hear you. You're going to give everybody the call letters and the FM stations, but they can also hear this show now on iTunes, on Spotify. I believe we're on iHeartRadio as well. So your message is getting out, Bishop, and more people are being woken up to the facts that seem hidden until now.
You know, in this sigil logo that's really a part of this powerful flyer that you produced today, Jason, when you look at it quickly, that sigil, and many times the teachings of Aleister Crowley deal in inversion.
Yes.
And that sigil represents a counterfeit manger. Let me say it again. It represents a counterfeit. So to a lot of my Christian brothers and sisters, we know that the Lord Jesus Christ was born in a manger 2,000 years ago. And so if you look up wooden mangers, how they are built today, that is on this sigil here today. Another, whatever God has in truth, Satan has a counterfeit. And later on, I'm really going to break down this. There you go. Excellent there on the top right-hand corner. So what Satan often does, Jason, is to counterfeit. In other words, he's counterfeiting the birth of the Lord Jesus Christ, born in a manger 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem of Judea. And there's another logo, I believe, that Larry Johnson put out yesterday, I believe, or the day before yesterday on Twitter concerning this inversion, success for the successful. So what Satan is doing through Kobe Bryant is bringing about a counterfeit manger, where at the top of Larry Johnson's symbol is the Nike sign. So instead of the Lord Jesus Christ in the manger, it is a entity called Nike, which means demon in Greek. There you go, in Greek mythology. So you turn upside down success for successful. That term success and then successful, that I'm going to break down for you later, represents Lucifer in Satan. I'm going to break that down for you later on. But you got the Nike sign in place of the Lord Jesus Christ. So then what Kobe is involved in is satanic arts through inversion, through the psyop of the Theosophical Secret Society and the Thelema Secret Society. So you spell success and successful words inversion, and I'm going to break this down later in the broadcast. It represents the terms cadesis, which
Hmm.
is a part of Baphomet. Okay, so Kobe Bryant is not a fool. He's involved in Luciferianism. So we're going to break that down later on, what the sigil means in regards to the logo and the insignia of the Kobe Bryant brand.
Now,
Now,
Bishop, can
last
I
week,
add something before you go too much further from this sigil? Because you've
absolutely.
spoken to us about the Baphomet system. And I found that interesting because I hadn't heard that specific phraseology. I mean, there's so many things that you've taught us here, Bishop, in the short time that we've been doing this show. But that stuck with me, this concept of the Baphomet system. We're not just talking about the character Baphomet, but some whole system based around him. And in preparing for this show, I found this article talking about Nike's launch of the Kobe system, which just struck me as being remarkably similar. And then here's Kobe Bryant in a picture in an article about Kobe Bryant, cut off at the eyes. That seems weird to me. And then we've got this fancy looking guy with a very expensive custom tailored shirt, double Windsor knot, expensive looking suit with a pocket thing here. I mean, this is a guy who knows how to dress himself and where to shop. And look at what he's got on his lapel.
That is Larry Fitzgerald. He is the wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals in the
Oh,
National Football League.
uh-huh.
So I'm shocked that he would be involved in this because he is supposed to be a Christian. So excellent find there concerning Kobe Bryant and Larry Fitzgerald. And you notice the lapel that Larry Fitzgerald is wearing, the pin is that sigil inversion, okay?
Yes.
That represents a counterfeit manger of the Lord Jesus Christ. So what Luciferianism teaches, instead of Christ in the manger, Baphomet or his descendants, Nike, which represents demonic generations, is inside of that manger. Now, remember, to all of our crowdsource to truth listeners,
Mm-hmm.
whatever God has in truth, Satan has a counterfeit. And I'm going to break down this Baphomet system, what it means. So, Baphomet simply means we must dissolve in order to create space to rebuild. Now, remember the coronavirus. We
Yeah.
must dissolve in order to create space to rebuild. So last week we left off on the Boule Secret Society, and thank you so much for those photos and for that find there, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And so then we're going to come back to successful for the successful, an inversion of the manger of the Lord Jesus Christ. So we know Satan is a counterfeit. Last week, as we left off on part 3 of Kobe Bryant's Luciferian project created, now part 4, the Boule Secret Society would be 117 years old this coming May 15th, 1904. Okay, so here in the year what we call 2020, it is 2020s, right? Or 20 times 20 equals 400. In gematria, that is a term of spiritual transitioning in within the Jewish gematria system. 2020 is the second decade of the 21st century. 2020 is the 20th year of the 21st century. So we would talk about the Gregorian calendar, the Julian calendar, the Coptic, the Ethiopian calendar, in the Hebraic calendar. 2020 is a cycle of completion for the Boule Secret Society. 2020 is the 20th year of the third millennium. Again, 2020 is the 20th year, not the 19th or the 21st, but 2020 is the 20th year of the third millennium. So, as a side note, not to get away from Kobe Bryant, The attorney that Kobe hired back in 2003 because of his rape allegation was a woman by the name of Pamela Mackey. We made mention of her. We've been touching on her for the past 2 weeks. Now, Pamela Mackey is not only Phi Beta Kappa, but she is now legally representing Harvey Weinstein. That cannot be by accident. So then Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created Part 4. Now, Jeff Steibel.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Steibel is a brain scientist. His mentors are Dr. Daniel Dennett, all right, and Dr. Richard Dawkins. These are atheists. So Jeff Steibel's mentors, his first mentor is Dr. Daniel Dennett. He's a philosopher and a cognitive scientist, okay? He's a member of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry. He's also a member of the Secular Coalition for America and a member of the Non-Theistic Americans Institute for Humanist Studies in Washington, D.C. So this Dr. Daniel Dennett, who happens to be a close mentor to Jeff Steibel, part of his childhood, Jason, was spent in Lebanon during World War II.
Whoa.
Where his father, Daniel Clement Dennett Jr., was a covert counterintelligence spy for the OSS.
Wow.
The Office of Strategic Services, which is the precursor of the CIA in 1947. So the father of Daniel Dennett, who happens to be the mentor of Jeff Steibel, his childhood was spent during World War II in Lebanon, where his father, Daniel Clement Dennett Jr., who was also a Skulls and Bones, was a spy for the OSS, all right? A precursor of the CIA. And the father of Daniel Dennett, again, Daniel Clement Dennett Jr., was also a part, not just a part of the OSS, but a part of the Special Activities Division of the OSS concerning assassinations, mental and psychological warfare. Interesting. So then the father of Daniel Dennett was a spy for the OSS, okay? A precursor of the CIA in Lebanon during World War II. The grandfather of Dr. Daniel Dennett was a man by the name of Liberty Beaumont Dennett, who was also a Skulls and Bones. So then the mentor of Jeff Steibel, Dr. Daniel Dennett, comes from a long line of bonesmen, but also spies connected to the Office of Strategic Services, which was absorbed into the CIA in 1947.
Bishop, it seems like Skull and Bones is a proving ground for the CIA.
You are absolutely correct, my friend. The Skulls and Bones all interconnected with the foundation of the Central Intelligence Agency. And to all of our listeners, if you get a chance, check out the movie The Good Shepherd with Matt Damon. Okay, that came on some years ago, where Matt Damon plays a character that was one of the founding fathers of the Central Intelligence Agency. He was a bonesman. All of these bonesmen is a recruiting ground for the Central Intelligence Agency and the National Security Agency and the American Intelligence Industrial Complex. Excellent picture. There you go. So then, in The Good Shepherd, we see a history of the Skulls and Bones being sexually initiated into the order. And if you look at the building of the Skulls and Bones, which was created in 1832, there are no windows, okay? So it's a proving ground, like you said, Jason, for those in the upper echelons of financial power, or what we call the political black nobility of families through the Skulls and Bones, okay? Princeton University, Brown University. These men and women are heavily recruited by the Central Intelligence Agency. Now, again, this Dr. Daniel Dennett is an interesting character. He's
Wait,
the
wait, sorry, Bishop, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I've recently fixed Google Earth so we can look at some of these places around the world. And I normally type in Skull and Bones and it takes us to New Haven, Connecticut. But here's Skull and Bones in Paris, France. Do we know anything about this? I guess it's
wow,
just a shop. Might not be
yeah.
anything.
It may not be anything, and that's an excellent find there, Jason. And I do believe that the Skulls and Bones have now satellite locations around the world in London, England, on the Isle of Man, which is an island off of the coast of England, Paris,
Hmm.
France, right? Basel, Switzerland. That may very well be a Skull and Bones satellite. Excellent find there, Jason. So
Yeah.
then, yeah. So then Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project completed. So this Dr. Daniel Dennett, Jeff Stibel's mentor, is one of the four horsemen of what they call the New Atheism, with Dr. Richard Dawkins of the Tavistock Institute. Mm.
Hmm.
Dr. Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, the late Christopher Hitchens of the Tavistock Institute. So the Tavistock Institute is a Rockefeller created entity going back to 1947, where the Tavistock Institute specializes in global and social engineering. Okay, they specialize in global and social engineering. The brother of the Attorney General today, William Barr, Donald Barr, you brought him up last week.
That's his father.
Yes. Oh, it's his father.
Yeah.
He was once a headmaster at one of the most prestigious schools in New York City, the Dalton School, which still exists today on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. So then between 73 and 75, Jeffrey Epstein gets hired at the Dalton School, and Jeffrey Epstein does not have a college degree.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to come to that later. And Donald Barr resigns because of this. And then you talked about the eyebrows of Donald Barr. We're going to be talking about that later. So as a side note, this Dr. Richard Dawkins, who is one of the other mentors of Jeff Stibel. If you look up Richard Dawkins on Wikipedia, his eyebrows are up as well.
Ooh.
Dr. Richard Dawkins, Dr. Daniel Dennett, okay, Dr. Sam Harris, and the late Christopher Hitchens also were members of the Brights movement, capital Brights. So then the Brights.
Wow, Bishop, we've hit something, I think, with this eyebrow up deal.
Yes. He is one of the mentors of Jeff Stibel, okay? Dr. Richard Dawkins. So we're talking about Daniel Dennett, Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins, including Ray Kurzweil and Marvin Minsky, are all atheists, anti-God, pro-Luciferian scholars, are part of both the Tavistock Institute and the Brights movement. So Jeff Stibel is connected to Richard Dawkins. So Jeff Stibel is the CEO of the BrainGate Foundation, which is connected to the Brain Initiative program through the Central Intelligence Agency that goes back to the Obama administration in 2013. Jeff Stibel, who is the CEO of the Dun and Bradstreet Credibility Corporation. Now, remember, as a side note, going back to 1577, Isaac Rothschild, right, was a credit raider. Remember that term, credit raider, in connection to Dun and Bradstreet. So then, Dr. Daniel Dennett, Richard Dawkins, Ray Kurzweil, Marvin Minsky, Christopher Hitchens, the late Christopher Hitchens, are all connected to Jeff Stibel, okay, who is interconnected to the late Kobe Bryant. So as we move on here, and it's very interesting here that Jeff Stable's main mentor, this Dr. Daniel Dennett, whose background is a part of the anti-God Luciferian system here in the United States. And great picture there. Now, you notice to our
He looks
listeners,
like a kid.
he looks like a kid. And to all of your listeners, if you get a chance, go onto YouTube when Kobe Bryant, back in 2016, through the IPO, the initial public offering of the Bryant Stable Mutual Fund, Kobe Bryant rings the bell, okay? Now, Jeff Stable doesn't even look at Kobe Bryant, doesn't even shake Kobe Bryant's hands. That is something for us to concentrate on as we're talking about Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created. Now, Dr. Daniel Dennett, including Jeff Stable, took part of the 2002 Godless Americans March on Washington, November 2nd, 2002. Jeff Stable, along with his mentors, okay, Dr. Daniel Dennett, Dr. Richard Dawkins, okay, Christopher Hitchens, Dr. Sam Harris, all took part of the 2002 Godless Americans March on Washington. I don't think Kobe understands what he's involved in. Again, part 4 of the Kobe Bryant Luciferian project.
Sorry, Bishop, let me just ask you, what do you think about the presentation of Jeff Stable in this video? He's now looking less like a child and more, dare I say, Christ-like.
And a lot of your listeners and my listeners, and a lot of them have been contacting me through social media, actually for the past 10 days, telling me that Jeff Stable looks like Charles Manson.
That's a good point, too.
And so Jeff Stable was a plant of the deep state. Why? To pimp out Kobe Bryant. And when I say pimp out Kobe Bryant, to financially and socially pimp out Kobe Bean Bryant. So then this Dun & Bradstreet Credibility Corporation quickly is under a class action lawsuit out of the states of California, Nevada, and Washington because of Ponzi schemes. Why didn't Kobe Bryant investigate this? So then is a woman by the name of Brenda Ann Smith, who was arrested by the FBI in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, because she was connected to Dun & Bradstreet of a $46 million Ponzi scheme. So then Dun & Bradstreet is a part of the plan to neutralize Kobe Bryant by pimping him out, okay? So then, notice the term COVID for coronavirus, capital COVID. Now, when we connect that word in Hebrew and then interpret it in plain English, it reveals the word Kobe. So you notice this. So then the Brian Stable stories on his website, and we talked about this last week, where Brian Stable gives a story that he broke his foot at the Standard Hotel. Now, it really gets deep now, Jason, as we're talking about Kobe Bryant.
Sorry, Bishop, who broke his foot at the Standard Hotel? Jeff Stable?
Jeff Stable gives a story on the Brian Stable website under stories. He talks about, or just type in Jeff Stable breaks foot at Standard Hotel. Again, Jeff Stable breaks foot at Standard Hotel on Google. And so I'm thinking, why is he connected to the Standard Hotel?
Yeah.
Back 2012, Kobe, who is separated from his wife, Vanessa Bryant, stays at the West Hollywood Standard Hotel that's connected to the Epsteins, Mark and Jeffrey Epstein, to the Clintons, and to Adam Shifty Schiff. Now, it's interesting about this Dun & Bradstreet Corporation here. It started in 1841, to your listeners, Jason, as the Mercantile Agency here in New York City. A man by the name of Louis Tappan transferred the company in 1849 to Benjamin Douglas, who then in 1859 transfers the company to Robert Graham, who then changes the name of the company from Mercantile Agency to the R.G. Dunn and Company in 1859. Now, in 1933, there's your number 33, R.G. Dunn and Company merges with John M. Bradstreet, which now is, the company is called now Dunn Company, D-U-N, and Bradstreet Corporation, or Credibility Corporation. And so then, according here to the European Commission and according to the UN, that Dun and Bradstreet gives out over 300,000 data reports on businesses for the U.S. government. I'm going to come back to that later on if I have time. Now, going back to the 1800s, Jason, 4 U.S. presidents during their teenage days, during their youth, used to work for Dun and Bradstreet.
Really?
I did not. So Abraham Lincoln, William McKinley, Ulysses S. Grant, and Grover Cleveland worked as credit reporters for Dun and Bradstreet.
Bishop, did you see what just happened? I tried to place us down in the right in the area where Dun and Bradstreet in Malibu is, and it put us inside some chicken restaurant.
Isn't that interesting? Okay. In other words, it's a fraud. Okay. Now you go back to the address that we tried to find a Dun and Bradstreet, a Brian Stiebel in Malibu. Brian Stiebel's logo or sign wasn't even up, but Brad and Dun Streets were. I find that to be interesting. So then, as we move on here, is that Dun and Bradstreet is called the NSA of the 21st century. Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project completed. Now, quickly here, Kobe Bryant, back in 2003, he's compromised. He is now a pawn in the game of these global Luciferian deep state devils. He is now, where is his parents? Why was his parents so quiet during the memorial? Okay, so then Kobe Bryant is now swimming in a sea of sharks going back to 2003 up until 2020. Jeff Stiebel, Jeff Epstein, Lifeboat Foundation, Lloyd Blankfein, Goldman Sachs, okay, Les Wexner, the Asimov Institute, you may mention him a week or two ago, the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton Global Initiative through the Abson Institute, okay? So then Kobe was invited to speak at the January 2014 Clinton Foundation Conference on Health Matters, being invited by the Aspen Institute, which is another CIA think tank. Now, Kobe Bryant had multiple lawsuits against high-tech pharmaceuticals, who is owned by the Acorn Incorporation, AKORN, which
Bishop,
is owned by...
I meant to ask you last week about Acorn, because I think people feel that has significance in terms of like a seed and life and all that. And there was also that, I guess, was it a political action committee called Acorn that was somehow connected to Barack Obama, that James O'Keefe and Project Veritas exposed as some kind of election fraud thing?
Yeah, but that's not the same Acorn. That Acorn is capital ACORN, that was connected to voter fraud during the 2008-9 presidential election. You're right about that. But this Acorn, capital AKORN, is not connected to the Acorn that Project Veritas had exposed back during the 2008 presidential election.
Right. Now, sorry to distract again, but I've got us a clear image of Dun and Bradstreet in Malibu, so let's just take a moment to examine it if we can, because I don't want to jump to a conclusion. Now, here's the, I guess it's Kentucky Fried Chicken or Malibu Country Chicken, and then that does strike me as the logo for Dun and Bradstreet, and this does look like an office building, so I mean, it's a fancy place to have an office building. I don't know if you've been over here on the Pacific Coast Highway, Bishop, but it does seem to be a legitimate office location.
Yes, but it doesn't have the Brian Stable sign because the Brian Stable sign, according to the Brian Stable website, is that address. Why isn't Kobe Bryant's, the name of his venture capital fund on that building? Okay, which
I'd want to
now,
go there and look at it more closely to verify that, but it's a fair point.
yeah, when we brought it up a couple of weeks ago, it was not there. The Brian Stable sign. Now, the Brian Stable Venture Capital Fund has over $2 billion in assets. That money doesn't belong to Jeff Stable. It belongs to Vanessa Bryant. There's going to be multiple lawsuits because of this. So when we talked about Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project completed part 4. We talked about, remember, the Jack and Jill Foundation and the Jack and Jill of America that was created in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the same city that the Boule Secret Society was created. Jack and Jill is the female equivalent of the male Boule Secret Society. So then the Jack and Jill of America and the Jack and Jill Foundation was created in 1938 through the Laura Spelman Rockefeller Foundation. Now, Laura Spelman had died in 1915, but John D. had given millions of dollars to the Boules to create the Jack and Jill of America and the Jack and Jill Foundation. So then the Jack and Jill of America and the Jack and Jill Foundation are connected to the Jack and Jill magazine and the Humpty Dumpty magazine that was published through the Curtis Publishing Company out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, Cyrus H.K. Curtis is an agent for John D. Rockefeller. He creates the Curtis Publishing Company, all right, founded in 1891. So Cyrus H.K. Curtis had created the Jack and Jill magazine, the Humpty Dumpty magazine, okay, also gave birth to the Jack and Jill of America and the Jack and Jill Foundation, okay? And now through Parents Magazine, the Jack and Jill magazine, okay, is still published under the Curtis Licensing Corporation, okay?
Bishop, what do you make of this thing on his tie?
If you expand it further, that looks like a Germanic type of logo or insignia, okay? That's interconnected to the Lorraine Secret Society, Lorraine, capital L-O-R-R-A-I-N-E, which is the Lorraine Cross. But that symbol could be an extension of the Lorraine Secret Society or the Germanic Lorraine Cross.
What about the Lorraine Motel?
Oh my God. See, you read my mind, Jason. The Lorraine Motel in April of 1968 that was owned by the Bailey family in Memphis, Tennessee, who were also Boules and Masons, a part of the Prince Hall Masonry Secret Society. Excellent find there, Jason. And so in the book entitled Internationalist, okay, the man who misrules the world, Rockefeller, Internationalist, the man who misrules the world, by Emmanuel M. Josephson. Now, in chapter 2, quickly, he talks about that John D. Rockefeller controls the Curtis Publishing Company and also controls the Hearst Publishing Company. Remember the Hearst family, Patty Hearst. So the Rockefeller Foundation still controls the Curtis Publishing Company that publishes Jack and Jill magazines, the Humpty Dumpty, and is an extension of the Jack and Jill of America in the Jack and Jill Foundation, which is the Black Female Secret Society of America in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. Everything's out of Philly. So then it's interesting, as a side note, Jason, as we're discussing Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created, that the Humpty Dumpty Congressional Advisory Board has one Adam Schiff on it. okay? And he is an advisory board member. And one of the logos that's on the egg on the Humpty Dumpty Institute website has multiple hands with hearts as palms. Those are some of the symbols that were declassified by the FBI as pedophilia symbols. Now, I'm not saying that the Humpty Dumpty Institute is a conduit for pedophilia, but the logos of the hearted palm hands also are connected not only to the FBI's declassified symbols of the pedophilia underground network, but also to the Little Kids Foundation in California that you and I talked about. So
Right.
then, and it gets really powerful deep now, Jason. So then the Kobe Bryant Luciferian project completed part 4. Let's examine Baphomet that you had brought up during the first 15 minutes of the broadcast.
Yeah.
The term Baphomet, Baph, okay, it means system. Homet means conflation of homosexuality. Baphomet, which was created by Eliphas Levi, who was a part of the Bavarian German Illuminati, the occultic system, where he taught an occultic language called occultian, capital Occitan, which is an occultish language that the Knights of Templar spoke. Okay. Also, the occultan language is an offshoot of what we call the Catalonian language. It's
Oh,
all secret society language.
wait, Catalonia in Spain, you mean?
Yes, absolutely. Uh, and so the words on the arms of Baphomet is solve, coagule, okay, capital Coagula. Now, I'm thinking, and I was thinking about you yesterday, Jason, in preparing for you, solve cogla or coaglia, okay? It
Hmm.
means to separate and join together, or it means to dissolve into rebuild, to coagulate, to dissolve in order to resolve space to rebuild. Now, remember the coronavirus, to dissolve in order to create space to rebuild. Solve on the right forearm of Baphomet, okay? And then coagulate on the left forearm of Baphomet with the 666 hand signs going up and also going down. So dissolve into coagulate, it means we must dissolve a space. Now you got what, over 60 countries involved with this epidemic called the coronavirus, to dissolve in order to create space. Jason, this is heavy. So then we must create space in order to rebuild that which is old. We got to dissolve humanity in order to create a new entity. This is the psyop of Baphomet. We must bring disorder in order to create a new order, to bring in a new order through chaos theory and reactive problem solving. So Baphomet means to solve by dissolving, okay, in order to coagulate or to make space for a new beginning. So then, Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created. Now, remember the author here, J.K. Rowling, okay?
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling. Now, if you notice here, I believe it's online, and you can just type in J.K. Rowling appears to sport alchemy or alchemical tattoo and says fifth Koroman strike. In other words, J.K. Rowling has on her forearm, the term here, solved ET coagulate. There you go. So then on her forearm, okay, this British author is connected to the system of Baphomet. Excellent picture there,
Wow.
Jason. There you go.
So who
Solve
is this person whose hand she's holding?
that I do not know, Jason. It could be an adopted daughter, someone and that's a great question there. And so then on her forearm, to dissolve and to rebuild, that's what it means. So she is a part, J.K. Rowling, of the Luciferian project. Okay, and, and so when they are done with her, they will get rid of her just like they got rid of Kobe. So that's a great picture there, Jason.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
to solve ET coagulate, which means we must dissolve space in order to rebuild new space, coronavirus. So then there are 7.7 billion people, give or take a few million people, on the planet today, Jason. Now, the deep state is saying, and we're talking about Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created, the deep state is saying that we must depopulate the earth. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I'm going to come to that foundation. So there's what, 7.7 billion people on the face of the earth. Now, there's a lot of political scientists, okay, and people within our own government are saying that 7.7 billion people, excellent picture there, Jason, can fit comfortably in the state of Texas. I'm thinking, wait a minute now. How can you fit 7.7 billion people in the state of Texas?
Yeah.
So the state of Texas, the landmass of the state of Texas is 268,820 square miles. And the square feet of the state of Texas is 7,494,271,488,000 square feet.
It's a lot.
So they're saying that each person of 7.6 to 7.7 billion people can fit comfortably side by side within the state of Texas. In other words, the United Nations, through the Population Research Institute, okay, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they want to bring up the population, okay? Kobe Bryant also knew Bill and Melinda Gates. I'm not accusing anyone of killing Kobe Bryant. What my assignment here today, Jason, is to reveal the gamut of powers that surrounded Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project completed part 4. Now, Kobe Bryant and Nike created the Kobe system brand you talked about at the beginning of the show. That's filled with Illuminati symbolisms, okay? And we talked about the inverted sigil, capital S-I-G-I-L, which is a counterfeit manger of the Lord Jesus Christ. So whatever God has in truth, the devil has a counterfeit. And as a side note here, Bill Gates also gives millions of dollars to a foundation called the Future African Forum. Now listen to my Black brothers and sisters. The Future African Forum is a foundation whose sole intent is to depopulate the continent of Africa. There is the United Nations agenda called the UN Agenda of 2030, okay, where the UN is targeting 17 global targets, 17 nations, and these 17 nations are the top 17 nations that are affected by the coronavirus. Is that by accident? No. So the Baphomet system, Jason, wants to dissolve, to solve a problem in order to dissolve, okay, in order to create space, to solve, coagulate in order to create space. So the pharmaceutical technology companies. Okay, and we talked about Lifeboat Foundation, with the late Jeffrey Epstein knew Jeff Seibel. They sat on the board. Kobe Bryant gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Lifeboat Foundation. And many listeners are saying, who created the Lifeboat Foundation? Bishop, a man by the name of Eric Klein. So then, when we talk about going back in 1975, and still keep a mental paperclip there concerning Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created. In 1975, Jason, Dr. Henry Kissinger
Oh boy.
established the United States, the U.S. State Department's Office of Population Affairs Group. The U.S. State Department's Office of Population Affairs Group. Henry Kissinger, okay, is a 33rd and 1.5 degree Mason. Henry Kissinger is a part of not only the Skulls and Bones, but also a part of the Tavistock Institute out of England, okay? The Brights movement through Richard Dawkins, who happens to be one of Jeff Seibel's mentors. Henry Kissinger is a part on the Council of Foreign Relations.
Sorry, Bishop, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I have to stop you again. So I've come across this document here based on what you're telling us. This is the Haig-Kissinger depopulation policy from 1981. Alexander Haig was a general, was a member of, I think, Ronald Reagan's Joint Chiefs of Staff, and was one of the first people to appear on television talking about how 9/11 must be attributed to Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden.
Absolutely. Again, Jason, great find there. Alexander Haig, the Haig-Kissinger depopulation policy that was written there by Lonnie Wolf. This goes back to 75. So these demons have been in pre-planned mode for decades to depopulate humanity. This is the Baphomet system, as we are talking about Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created. Excellent find there, okay? So this is interesting here. So through the Lifeboat Foundation, the Tavistock Institute, the United Nations 2030 Agenda, the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, right? The Club of Rome, the Committee of 300. Another foundation called the EDGE, capital EDGE, the EDGE Foundation, all right, where Jeffrey Epstein, including Dr. Daniel Dennett, remember, he is the mentor of Jeff Seibel, and Jeff Seibel is a member of the EDGE Foundation, okay, of global and social engineering, okay? And so when we talk about Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created, Jeffrey Epstein, all right, was also, and if you go to, and just type in, who was Jeffrey Epstein calling? A close study of his circle. Again, who was Jeffrey Epstein calling? Okay, a close study of his circle. It's a July 22nd, 2019 op-ed through the Intelligencer, the New York Intelligencer magazine. All right, excellent. As you go down there further, okay, this is it exposes the connections that Jeffrey Epstein had with people like John Brockman. Who was John Brockman? Not only a mentor of Jeffrey Seibel when it comes to authorship, John Brockman of the EDGE Foundation is a part of the Reality Club, Jason, which is connected to the Isaac Asimov Institute and the Third Culture. These are pedophiles. John Brockman, Jeffrey Epstein, the EDGE Foundation. These are connections that must be exposed. Now, I'm going to expose another interesting article, and just type in again. It is the same article, and stay there and go down further on that article there in the New York magazine, the New York Intelligencer, and go down further. You'll see pictures, I believe, of 5 people: John Brockman, Steven Pinker of Harvard University, all right, Daniel C. Dennett, who is Jeffrey Stibel's mentor, a woman by the name of Kantika Matson, Richard Dawkins flying to a TED conference, go down further, and they are on the plane of Jeffrey Epstein, the Lolita Express. Wait a minute
There's a
now.
hell of a list
Why
here,
is
Bitcha.
Yes, why is Jeffrey Stibel's mentors on the Lolita Express going to a TED conference in Monterey, California?
Did we
Okay,
know that Bill Cosby lived across the street from Epstein?
absolutely. You see,
Wow.
they knew each other. Bill Cosby was also a Scientologist. Bill
What?
Cosby, and matter of fact, we got to do a show about him and Lisa Left Eye Lopez, and we got to get to continue to get deeper in this Black Boule society. Okay,
Are we looking at
I'm
Alan Dershowitz's eyebrows here?
Well, exactly. He was accused by one of the women of being of him raping several women. He denies it. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not castigating these men other than Jeffrey Epstein, who is a pedophile. So you go down further on that article here, okay, where you see John Brockman, okay, do you see Steven Pinker, Daniel, there you go, right there. You see these 5 people on the Lolita Express.
Look at that.
Wait a minute now, on Jeffrey Epstein's plane going back to 2002. These are the mentors of Jeff Steibel. Okay, we're talking about Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created. And Richard Dawkins has his eyebrows up. Okay, so then Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created. Now, the secret society that these men and women are a part of, they were a part of what we call the Edge Foundation, who had sponsored what they call billionaire dinners, okay? Going back to the year 2000. Billionaire dinners. You go to edge.org or just type in billionaire dinner or billionaire dinners, Edge Foundation, and it gives pictures of Jeffrey Epstein in 2000, Ari Emanuel, who is the brother of Juan Emanuel.
Yep.
Okay, Daniel C. Dennett, Marvin Minsky, Katina Matson.
Ooh,
okay,
Peter Gabriel.
Right there. There you go. These are billionaires. Okay, Jeffrey Epstein paid for access to power, wealth, social, and technology. Jeffrey Epstein was connected to Marvin Minsky, Ari Emanuel, a high-powered attorney, okay, who also represents a lot of Hollywood stars as an agent, okay? Daniel C. Dennett, Katina Matson, okay? Richard Dawkins. These people are a part of the Edge Foundation, okay? As we go on further here, there was a man by the name of Nicholas Necrompete. I might be mispronouncing his word. Necroponte, capital Negroponte. That's interesting. Nicholas Necroponte.
Negroponte.
Yes. He's the younger brother of the former director of national intelligence,
Ooh.
John Necroponte.
Wow.
So his younger brother, Nicholas, is a part of the Edge Foundation that's connected to Jeff Steibel. See, what I'm doing, Jason, I'm getting so many emails that people's minds are being blown. These connections are so important in regards to Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created. Okay?
Negroponte went to MIT.
In MIT. There you go. Just like Jeff Steibel went to MIT. Jeffrey Epstein gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to MIT. And then when Epstein was exposed, then everyone went into hiding, including Jeff Steibel. So then when you look at, and we talked about that inversion of the sigil at the beginning of today's broadcast,
Mhm.
Now, that success for the successful, there's some good pictures there, Jason. Success for the successful. This is Kobe Bryant's Nike brand. And by the way, the term Nike means demon in Greek mythology. When you take the word success and invert it backwards, okay, it becomes an acronym for the term caduceus, capital Caduceus. So then capital Sseccus is a numeric acronym for the term caduceus. So the caduceus is the two serpents that come from the anatomy of Baphomet. And then the word successful spelled backwards through inversion becomes the acronym for the term Lucifer. Love cease, capital Luffsecus, okay, which is an acronym for the term Lucifer or
Bishop,
Lucifer.
why is this thing the medical symbol or something similar to it?
Well, they take it again, the deep state takes it back to the Bible, to the Word of God, where the prophet Moses in the books of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy picks up a staff with the serpent around the staff, and then the deep state, not understanding the Holy Script or scriptures, they take that as the insignia for the global healthcare system. But it represents the anatomy, Jason, of Baphomet, coming from, and excuse the expression, from the genitals, okay, and the female part of Baphomet, okay, who is part man, part woman, part goat. Remember the Masonic goat riders we talked about a month ago. So success backwards, it is an acronym for the word caduceus, two serpents around the stone. And the term successful, and through inversion backwards, becomes the acronym for the term Lucifer. Now, the term Lucifer spelled backwards through inversion reveals the Latin word recycle, which means the recycling of fecal matter. So then the Baphomet system becomes the system in the personality of Kobe Bryant's brand. Okay. Now the Baphomet, we're going back to 1098, okay, AD. The French Crusader Anselm, capital Anselm, okay, had taught that the crescent moon above the right hand of Baphomet represents Muhammad. Okay, because during the first Crusaders' wars against the Islamic war from 1096 to 1099 AD, the Christian Crusaders called Muhammad Baphomet, capital Baphomet, which means Muhammad. And the term mosque is the term Baphomet. Let me spell that, capital Bafumarias. So Baphomet, crescent moon, okay? Muhammad, Baphomet, mosque, Baphomet. And also the term Muhammad, okay, also means Muhammad, capital Mahomet, Homet, conflation of homosexuality. And so again, going back to the symbol of Baphomet, his right hand 666, his left hand 666, as above, so is beneath. Here, I'm going to go deeper on you, Jason. So the right hand of Baphomet also represents the northwestern area of demonology called Pazuzu, capital Pazuzu, which represents a demon of the atmosphere. And the left hand of Baphomet going to the earth represents the southeastern demon Humbaba, capital Humbaba, BABA. So the Baphomet system becomes the psyop of the brand of Kobe Bryant. And so then remember the Boule Secret Society, connected to the Tuskegee Institute, going back to 1929. Now, who funded the syphilis conspiracy? A man by the name of Julius Rosenwald, who is the creator of the Sears Roebuck Company,
Wow.
in conjunction with the Public Health Services of the United States government, gave $5 million to Tuskegee Institute, not to Booker T. Washington, who was against the syphilis conspiracy, but to Boules that surrounded Booker T. Washington, okay? Dr. Moulton, okay, and many other Boule Secret Society members had conspired to take out Booker T. Washington, who died in 1915, of complications of syphilis. But Jason, what type of medicine did the Secret Society on doctors through the Boules give to 600 Black men and women? Okay, this medicine, this syphilis type of injections, was called the Wassermann test, capital WASSERMANN, the Wassermann test, that was invented by Dr. August Paul von Wassermann, who was a racial hygienist in Germany.
Racial hygienist.
A racial hygienist. In other words, he practiced racial hygiene of excommunicating certain ethnic groups. This was before the rise of the Third Reich. August Paul von Wassermann invented the Wassermann test, where he would inject components of syphilis into certain ethnic groups in pre-Nazi Germany. So August Paul von Wassermann created the Wassermann test, which the deep state Boule doctors used against 600 Black men and women from 1932 to 1972 to inject them with syphilis. And we're talking about a Luciferian project created to see how the Black anatomy will respond. Now,
Bishop,
let's get deep.
Let me ask you real quickly, what do you think about President Trump's recent decision to very prominently feature a Tuskegee Airman during his speech at the State of the Union?
That was a beautiful, calculated move by our great president, okay? And there's a lot of people on the left, through the Black caucus of the left, are saying, oh, why didn't President Trump give the Congressional Medal of Honor to this man, okay? No president has ever done what President Trump did during that State of the Union address, acknowledging this great patriot, this African-American general who was a part of the Tuskegee Institute of Airmen. And so I think it's a powerful political and social calculated move by President Trump. I have no problem with that.
He looks so proud.
And
He's
so
smiling, and his young grandson was there. I mean, this was a great moment for this guy.
Yes. And again, what President Trump is doing is discombobulating. He's tearing down layer by layer the Luciferian project system. Okay.
But Bishop, was the president sending some kind of message to, I mean, the fact that this guy is a Tuskegee Airman and we're talking about the Tuskegee experiments, is there any connection there?
There is a powerful connection. I'm glad that you brought that up. Now, back in 96 and 97, President Bill Clinton just gave an apology, okay, to the families and the victims of the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, those that were experimented on for a period of 40 years, from 1932 to 1972. But an apology is not enough, Jason. Now, I don't believe in reparations. I am a Black conservative. But in the case of the families of these victims, they should get some type of financial, financial blessing, financial gift. Why? Because a lot of families through the bloodline of those that were tested are still suffering
Oh,
themselves.
wow.
And yet, President Trump, I guarantee you, maybe after his reelection, is going to bring about millions of dollars to the families of those victims concerning the Tuskegee Institute conspiracy. So it is not by accident, Jason. He's sending a message to the system. Listen, the victims of the Tuskegee Institute syphilis conspiracy, they're going to be financially compensated. Great insight, Jason. So remember this Paul von Wasserman, who created the syphilis Wasserman test. He once worked under, back in 1890, a man by the name of Robert Koch at the Institute for Infectious Diseases. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Koch at the Institute for Infectious Diseases. He is in the bloodline of the Koch brothers today. I know one of the Koch brothers died. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then, now the coronavirus, and somebody said, wait a minute, Bishop, what does Kobe Bryant have anything to do with the coronavirus?
This guy looks like Sigmund Freud.
He looks like Sigmund Freud. These are racial hygienists. These were people that understood the system of Baphomet to solve, in order to dissolve a certain space, coagulation, in order to create space by dissolving certain groups to create a new entity in that space. So the term COVID, capital COVID, when interpreted in Hebrew and English, reveals the word Kobe. Now, did Kobe Bryant know this? I don't know. Now, the severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus, and you can just type in severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus, as put out by the National Center for Biotechnology Information. Okay. The National Center for Biotechnology Information, or just type in severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus. It gives a patent number for the coronavirus, and this is a government website, not a offshoot conspiracy website. Okay. Severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus. Okay. That is on the National Center for Biotechnology Information website. Now, the patent for the coronavirus is US 200 625 7852. Again, 200 625 7852. Well, the coronavirus, my friend, was invented by a corporation that no longer exists, by the name of the Chiron Corporation, capital CHIRON. They were the intellectual property owners of both the SARS bioweapon and the coronavirus. So then, as we're talking about Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created, I'm going to
Bishop,
connect
the
Kobe.
patent refuses to load. Google is not letting us look at it.
Yeah. So again, when you go, just type in severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus. Again, severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus. So it's on the National Center for Biotechnology Information site. Now, I'm going to type that in myself because this is very important here.
I have it here. It shows up in the search. You see this? This is US 200 6025 7852 A1.
Yes.
Severe acute respiratory syndrome. But when I open it, it just gives me this white stuff. Nothing.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Go to the website.
Here it is. Here it is. That's weird that it would
good.
load so slowly, Bishop, because I mean, I've got this new super fast, and it doesn't give us the download the PDF thing. This is a little bit of an unusual arrangement for how they usually present patents, and for worldwide applications, it has US crossed out.
That's interesting. And I'm going to email you right now, Jason, the link to this, because this is very, very important here. This is powerful here. And
Hmm.
so then I'm going to email this to you right now. And this link and concerning severe acute respiratory syndrome,
Just send it in
coronavirus.
Skype would be, as a text would be the best, Bishop.
Okay. So then, absolutely, I would definitely send that to you. But the U.S. patent number, US 200-625, right? 57852. Let me repeat this. This is very important. US 200-625-7852. So what I'm going to do,
I think
Jason.
it's 6025-7852, if I'm not mistaken. Because
Yeah,
this is
so
bringing me to severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, and it gives us the abstract, but it's not. Let's see if we can get to. See, this is weird. It doesn't look like a U.S. patent to me, Bishop, and it's not letting us.
yes, it is a U.S. patent. In other words, I'm going to definitely, and if you can check your inbox email, I'm going to text this to you as well.
Sure. Yeah.
But, in other words,
I've got it here.
Absolutely. This patent, US 200-625-57852. Now, when I click on it, it gives information as to the property rights owner of the coronavirus, of the Chiron Corporation intellectual property, R440 out of Emeryville, California. Okay. So then what they're saying that the virus was created, okay, by this Chiron Corporation. But what is so scary, what I'm about to say, Jason, this corporation, which no longer exists in Emeryville, California, was sold, okay, to a company out of Basel, Switzerland, okay, by the name of the Novartis Group, capital Novartis. And so the Novartis Group, which is the second largest pharmaceutical company on this earth, who had amassed over $226 billion last year, now is the owner of the bioweapon coronavirus. And do you know, Jason, I want to say this later on, that the Novartis Pharmaceutical Corporation, through the Novartis Group, now has a major research and development, okay, corporation in Indochina. So then, according to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, okay, again, I want you to go to and just type in, and this is a long link here, pubchnc.ncbi.nih.gov, okay? Or just type in severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus. And so you click on, and this gets really scary now, Jason, when you click on the U.S. patent, it gives the names of the inventors, okay, and the correspondent intellectual property owner of the bioweapon, the Chiron Corporation. Now, to those of you who know Greek mythology, well, I'm really excited now, Jason. In Greek mythology, Chiron was a half male, half beast, just like the Boule Secret Society logo. So Chiron, capital Chiron, in Greek mythology, okay, was part man, part beast, that according to Greek mythology had a pedophilia relationship with the child Achilles. So this company was bought out in 2006 by the Novartis Corporation out of Basel, Switzerland, or Novartis International AG. Now, Novartis International AG, which is one of the top 5 pharmaceutical companies on this earth, Jason. So then it gets really deeper now. So then we talk about Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created, okay? And as a side note, Dr. Nancy Messonier, capital Messonier, who happens to be the sister of Rod Rosenstein, the former U.S. Deputy Attorney General, who had appointed Robert Mueller as special counsel in the Russia hoax investigation. So the
Wow,
sister
she's the
of
head of the
Rod
CDC or something.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Wow.
so and so she's giving up this false information. She's pushing the coronavirus panic nationwide. She's doing this because she's a part of the deep state trying to create a crisis, which is really not a crisis. Not mind you, it's serious, but it's not a crisis yet. But those on the left are trying to use the coronavirus, okay, as a again, as the patent number US 200 625 57852, that was created by scientists at the Keyron Corporation in Emeryville, California, sold to the Novartis International AG Group out of Basel, Switzerland. Okay. And so this Nancy Messonier, the sister of Ron Rosenstein, is trying to undercut President Trump by saying we have a national crisis, which is not the case. So this Novartis International AG Group, Jason, they have over 2,500 subsidiary under or sublet pharmaceutical companies. But the three of the pharmaceutical companies that Novartis owns are the three of the 2005 subsidiary companies that Kobe Bryant was suing. The INSYS, capital INSYX Therapeutics, which owns Acorn, capital AKORN Incorporated, which owns High Tech Pharmaceuticals here in Amityville, New York. All three companies was owned by John Kapoor, capital KAPOOR, who is now in prison for 66 months because of the opioid crisis, lacing weight loss pills with opioid substances, which Kobe Bryant was in a major lawsuit against these three pharmaceutical companies who are under the umbrella, Jason, of the Novartis Group AG.
This dude looks weird.
Oh, absolutely. And so Kobe Bryant files multiple class action lawsuits against the NSAID Therapeutic Pharmaceutical Company, the Acorn Incorporated, and the High Tech Pharmaceuticals, who are three of the 2,500 sublet pharmaceutical companies that Novartis owns. Do you think Novartis is going to allow a former basketball player to expose them? No. Because Kobe wasn't just filing a lawsuit because of his nickname. No. Kobe was filing lawsuits because the NSAID Therapeutics, capital INSYS, Acorn, and High Tech Pharmaceuticals was lacing their products, Jason, with opioid substances in order to addict the American public. Kobe Bryant, just like Paul Walker, had multiple lawsuits, and Kobe Bryant was set to go to trial had he lived the following Wednesday after his death. Oh, this is heavy. So then, this timeline of the coronavirus, it comes out in December 31st, 2019. Now, as a side note, Jason, according to the IQVIA Institute, the IQVIA Institute for Human Data and Science, they said that the global pharmaceutical industrial complex is projected to make $1.5 trillion in 2023. Wow. This is the reason why Kobe was taken. They're not going to allow someone to expose them to the point where they're going to lose billions of dollars. Jeff Stable had stock in NSAID Therapeutics, Acorn, and High Tech. Kobe didn't know this. Jeff Stable, Richard Dawkins, Daniel Dennett, okay, had stock in Novartis. Why would Kobe get himself involved? Now, Kobe Bryant, and it gets really scary now, my friend. So Kobe Bryant visits China for the first time in 1998. His last visit was in 2019 in August. Notice Kobe Bryant visits the province of Wanhun 12 times between 1998 and 2019. Oh, what is Wanhun? Which is the epicenter of the coronavirus.
Wuhan.
Wuhan. There you go. Capital Wuhan. Now, the Wuhan province is 517 miles north of the Guangdong province, capital Guangdong province. The Guangdong province, Jason, was the epicenter of the SARS virus back in 2002, which is 517 miles south of the Wuhan province where the coronavirus was birthed. So Chinese military and bioweapon labs are located between Wanhun and the Guangdong province.
Really?
Kobe Bryant had basketball clinics visiting these provinces. What did he know? And it might not have been anything, Jason, but it is so fascinating to connect Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project, to the provinces of Wanhun and Guangdong. Now, the Wuhan Institute of Virology, okay, which is controlled by Chinese military and Chinese intelligence. The coronavirus, okay, with the help of the Novartis group, R&D group in Shanghai, was offering and giving millions of dollars, and they still are, to the Wanhun Institute, okay, in Wanhun, in the Wanhun province, which is the epicenter of the coronavirus.
Wuhan,
so
Bishop.
What's that?
Wuhan, you mean?
Wuhan, absolutely. So the Wuhan Institute of Biology, which is controlled by the Chinese military and through Chinese intelligence, okay? Now, the BSL-4 lab in Wuhan, China, is under the direction of Dr. Li Wing Lang, capital L-I, then capital W-E-N, then capital L-I-A-N-G. She is one of two doctors, okay, who works for Chinese intelligence. He worked for Chinese intelligence, but he was one of the whistleblowers that died of the coronavirus, the same virus that he was exposing. So the Wuhan Institute, which is a part of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, under the umbrella, Jason, of Chinese intelligence and the Chinese military, they had different sections like the Center for Emerging Infectious Diseases and the Department of Analytical Biochemistry and Biotechnology. And so then the Novartis Institute for Tropical Diseases, that's located in Singapore, is connected to Chinese intelligence, that's connected to the Novartis group out of Basel, Switzerland, who bought the coronavirus patent from the Chiron Corporation in Emerville, California in 2006. These are the locations in China where Kobe was sent by Nike to get forth his Nike clinics. What did Kobe know? What did Kobe see? So the Novartis Vaccines Institute for Global Health is also giving millions of dollars to the Chinese government. As to why? So the Novartis Corporation Pharmaceutical Group out of Basel, Switzerland, opened a R&D, a research and development facility in China, where they donated $100 million. And you can look that up on thepharmaletter.com, thepharmaletter.com. This really gets deeper, Jason. Kobe Bryant, Luciferian Project created. So the Novartis Corporation is beginning to reshape China through research and development, Jason, okay? And you can look this up on biopharmadive, D-I-V-E.com, biopharmadive.com. Novartis reshapes China R&D hub to reflect rapidly evolving market. That's an op-ed from November 18, 2019. Now, according to the National Center for Biotechnology Information, Jason, there's a book entitled Biotechnology in China. Again, Biotechnology in China, where the author is revealing 200 research facilities in China through Chinese intelligence operating through 150 colleges and universities, perform biotechnology and bioweaponry creation in China. So, in other words, there's another bioweapons lab in China that is supported not only by the Chinese government through Chinese intelligence, but by the Novartis AG pharmaceutical company out of Basel, Switzerland. That is called the Jiangmen single cell protein, capital JIANGMEN. Jiangmen single cell protein biotechnology base. That's where in Guangdong, China, where SARS was given birth in 2002. The Shanghai Center for Biotechnology. Kobe Bryant visited these locations from 1998 to 2019. Why? Was it just to give basketball clinics? So then Kobe Bryant, who visited China from 1998 to 2019, his last trip was in August of 2019. Well, according to Forbes, Kobe Bryant's pioneering impact on NBA stars. So then Kobe Bryant saw something that he wasn't supposed to see. The very locations, Jason, where both the SARS virus in Guangdong, China in 2002 and the coronavirus in December 2019 in the Wuhan province of China, Kobe had multiple Nike basketball clinics. And so then it is not by accident that he is used by Chinese intelligence. And by the way, during the Hong Kong protesting, the Hong Kong protesters of last year, while LeBron James was kissing the behind of the Chinese government, Kobe Bryant was on the side of the Hong Kong protesters. Interesting. So then Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created. We're almost done. So the timeline of Kobe Bryant's connections is this. In June of 2019, Kobe Bryant becomes connected to a bookmaking casino corporation by the name of Fund 88.
Fund 88?
Capital FUN, then the number is 88.
That's weird.
So Fund 88 is the British bookmaking casino corporation that was created in 2008 that was owned by the Welton Holdings Limited out of Isle of Man, which is the independent British Crown location. Now, who owns the Welton Holdings Limited? The Tottenham Hotspur English Football Club. That's weird. Capital TOTTENHAM, Hotspur Football Club, which Kobe Bryant had shares in. And the Tottenham Hotspur, which owns Welton Holdings, which owns Fund 88, Tottenham Hotspur is owned by a corporation by the name of capital ENIC International, the English National Investment Company that is owned by a British billionaire by the name of Joe Lewis. Capital LEWIS. Joe Lewis is a part of the Tavistock Group that has Jeff Steibel, Daniel Dennett, his mentor, Richard Dawkins, and all of these Luciferian atheists. Joe Lewis lives in the Bahamas because he's wanted by the British government on tax evasion. Joe Lewis owns 85% of ENIC, English National Investment Company. And the remaining 29% is owned by Daniel Levy, capital Levy, including Alan Sugar. So then Joe Louis, Daniel Levy, and Alan Sugar are heavily connected to the Chinese mafia underworld called the Triads. The Triads is running Fund 88 all throughout China. But why is Kobe Bryant connecting himself to Fund 88, to Welton's Holding, to the Tottenham Hotspur Football League, to the English National Investment Company, to Joe Louis, Daniel Levy, and Alan Sugar, who are connected to the Chinese underworld of the Triads, who is running gambling in Indochina? So then Joe Louis is also connected to George Soros, and both Joe Louis and George Soros, who Kobe is connected to through Fund 88, Joe Louis and George Soros are still betting on pound crashing. They bet, remember David Hawkins talks about death betting. That's what Joe
Yeah.
Louis does. That's what Daniel Levy and Alan Sugar does. These are the devils whom Kobe is connected to through Fund 88. So Joe Louis, George Soros, betting on pound crashing out of the European exchange rate mechanism system, which is a part of the European monetary system in order to reduce exchange rates. These are some powerful people, Jason, that Kobe Bryant was connected to, including the Economic and Monetary Union of the European Union, which is connected to as a part of the portfolio of the Tavistock Group. Why is Kobe Bryant connected to these billionaires who are connected to the Chinese underworld of the Triads? So Kobe is connected to Jeff Steibel. He's connected to Richard Dawkins, Daniel Dennett, to the Edge Foundation, to Lifeboat Foundation. This is Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project creator. Why is he connected to these devils? And by the way, Jason, in my conclusion here, as a side note concerning Joe Louis, Alan Sugar, and Daniel Levy, who are a part of the pedophilia network here in America. And allow me to explain that. So then there is a corporation called the Elpida Home, capital Elpida Home, that was founded by Frank Gustra, a close friend and built in here.
Canadian criminal.
Giving millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation, to the Clinton Global Initiative, who is also giving millions of dollars to the Boys Club that's connected to NAMBLA, the Man-Boy Club here in New York City. And the Elpida website has multiple symbols of those pedophilia symbols declassified by the FBI.
It does.
Oh, you listen.
Where do we see that?
The Elpida Home, it should be. If it's not, then they took it down. Elpida, capital Elpida Home, and connected with Frank Gustra.
Yeah.
And so
the other thing that I noticed, Bishop, sorry to interrupt, but like when it loads, it looks remarkably similar to the Clinton Foundation website. I mean, could be a coincidence, but.
And again, Jason, that is not by accident. And so then it gets really, really deeper now. Disney's Magic Kingdom, it's a small world. Again, Disney's Magic Kingdom, it's a small world, okay? And even on the word Disney, the logo, it has 666 encrypted into that cursive word called Disney. So Disney's Magic Kingdom, it's a small world, has pedophilia symbols that was exposed by the FBI that you brought out last week, okay? Powerful. Remember Pizzagate, Best of Pizza. They have a new logo now, but prior to them being exposed a few years ago, which Joe Biden was a part of this Pizzagate conspiracy, their Besta, capital BESTA, their logo was one of the logos that was exposed by the FBI. And then Best of Pizza had removed that logo. They have a brand new logo. But by the way, I believe you brought up a month or two ago that that they were doors down, or still are doors down, from Comet Ping Pong, right?
Yep.
Of course, they changed their name in that regard. Or The Complete Adventures of Pan, capital Pan. The Complete Adventures of Pan. It's a kids app, okay, which is partly owned by the co-owner of Reddit, capital Reddit. And that man is a man by the name of Alexis Ohania, capital Ohanian. So he is part owner of the Complete Adventures of Pan, Pan, which is saturated with pedophilia symbols. That's co-owned by the co-owner of Reddit, capital Reddit. His name is Alexis Ohania, capital Ohanian, who is married to the tennis superstar Serena Williams. I kid you not, Jason.
Wow.
And there's another company that Joe Louis is connected with by the name of Hullabaloo, capital Hulla, Balu, capital Balu. Okay. That is a children's media interactive storytelling app. Okay. Where their theme is where they reinvent and reimagine children. They reinvent and they reimagine children. So the FBI is exposing the symbols of these companies that Joe Louis, Daniel Levy, okay, Alan Sugar are all connected with. And those billionaires were hired by Kobe Bryant to be the ambassador of Fun 88.
Well, this bear has this symbol all over it.
It has this symbol all, absolutely.
And what were you telling us about the word pan, Bishop?
Yes. And again, you hit another nerve with me, my friend. That's why you're a great host. The term pan, going back to Greek mythology, was what we call a Kobe type of demon with two horns. So the term Pan or Peter Pan was in Greek mythology, part man, part goat with two horns. Okay, cornucopia.
Oh, Bishop, look, here's another symbol on the backpack of this rabbit.
Oh my God! Wow. See, if you can expand that, Jason. Oh my! Again, that's a great find, Jason. You see, and so these are hidden symbols. Oh, there you go. These are hidden symbols of the pedophilia underground network. Look at that. Look at that pyramid.
Yeah.
Now, that pyramid was on the head of Dwayne Wade, the former NBA basketball player of the Miami Heat, right? Last week with his son who wants to be a girl. So there you go. So Dwayne Wade had those multiple pyramids all braided over his hair. Doesn't Dwayne Wade even know that is the symbol connected to the deep state pedophilia system that President Trump?
He's got to know.
He has to know, Jason. He has to know. He has to know. So I want to bring it in today with that as we conclude, especially these connections in China of Fund 88, okay, Wilton's Holdings, to the Tottenham Hotspur sports industry out of Great Britain, okay, to the ENIC Sports and Media Complex out of Great Britain, owned by Joe Louis, a British billionaire who is invading the government of Britain on tax evasion, is living in the Bahamas, and has registered his companies in the Bahamas, including Daniel Levy and Alan Sugar, all hired Kobe Bryant to be the ambassador of not just Fund 88, a sports making, sports booking online casino corporation that has workers of the Chinese underworld called the Triads working for them. Kobe did not do his homework. Kobe, either he knew and didn't care because of the money, or he just did not know, Jason, which might have cost him his life. And that is the conclusion of Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created. And I'm telling you, my friend, this has been one of the most powerful series that I have ever taught here on, not just on Crowdsource, but also during my 25 years in radio, definitely. And
Wow.
this is powerful here. Again, this Fund 80 is a bookmaking, British bookmaking corporation. Why would Kobe Bean Bryant? And mind you, there is a major corporation in China called the Alibaba Corporation.
Yeah. It's like Amazon.
Right? Alibaba, okay, capital Alibaba. So the Alibaba Corporation had also hired the services of Kobe Bryant to be the face of their company in connection to the National Basketball Association. And one of the co-owners of Alibaba is a man by the name of Josiah, capital Tsai, okay, who is the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, okay, unless he sold the team. So again, why is Kobe Bryant connecting himself to these gangsters? That's what they are, Jason. Yeah. Kobe Bryant was in way over his head concerning the deep state, concerning the Boule Secret Society, the dark arts, him being pimped out in 2003, him being a part of the dark arts, of the Theosophical Secret Society, the Thelema Secret Society, okay, the Masonic Order of the Golden Centurion that he was a part of, okay? And so this man, Josiah, capital Tsai, okay, was the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, or is the governor of the Brooklyn Nets of the National Basketball Association. Joseph Saya is a Chinese gangster. Why is Kobe Bryant a part and connected to these people? And what did he know, Jason? What and why would he sue? And we already know why he sued 3 of these pharmaceutical corporations, the NSAID, capital INSYS Therapeutics, that owns Acorn, capital AKORN, which owns High-Tech Pharmaceuticals, which is under the umbrella of the second largest pharmaceutical company on earth, the Novartis International AG Group out of Basel, Switzerland. Again, this is probably, Jason, one of the most powerful lectures I have ever given. This is deep. This is precise. These are people, again, and I am not blaming anyone per se. And I have to say this before we close out here today, Jason, that the Novartis AG Group has a 33% ownership in another pharmaceutical group by the name of Hoffmann LaRoche, capital LAROCHE, Hoffmann LaRoche. They specialize in diagnostics and pharmaceutics. Diagnostics, where they create the bioweapon, and pharmaceutics, Jason, where they create the antidote for the bioweapon.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So you see what's happened? So they create these bioweapons, and at the same time, they create the antidote in order to force China, the United States, and Canada, okay, to give billions of dollars, not just to the Hoffmann LaRoche pharmaceutical industry, which is one of the top 5 pharmaceutical companies on the earth, but that money is funneled back to the 33% stake owner of Hoffmann, the Novartis International AG Group, which owns NSAID Therapeutics, which owns Acorn, which owns High-Tech Pharmaceuticals, which Kobe Bryant was suing. Again, Jason, these are dots that are interconnected to Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created. Now, here's another man, and before I close out here today, Jason, another man by the name of Dr. Patrick Soon, capital S-O-O-N, Shiong, capital S-H-I-O-N-G. Okay, a billionaire, the richest man in Los Angeles. Okay, he is a
Really?
minority owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, unless he sold his shares, which he bought from Magic Johnson back in 2010.
Wow.
Patrick Soon Shiong is heavily connected, okay, to the ANSI Therapeutics Corporation with shares, okay, with Acorn, with High Tech, and he has shares within the Novartis group through the Novartis International AG. I'm not saying Dr. Shun or Shang had anything to do with the death of Kobe Bryant. But when I'm saying that it is not by accident that Kobe Bryant is sucked into a level, Jason, that was above his head. In other words, Kobe Bean Bryant was in way over his head. And mind you, before we close out, Jason, the man that founded the Novartis International AG group was a man by the name of Johann Rudolph Geigy. Let me spell his last name. Capital G-E-I-G-Y. His real name is Geiger, capital G-E-I-G-E-R. He began the Novartis International AG group, okay, going back into the 17 and 1800s. His financial benefactor was Mayor Amschel Rothschild, gave the seed money to Johann Rudolph Geiger to begin the Novartis International AG group.
Wow.
Which also owns 33% stake in the world's
How much?
Well, they own the Novartis International AG owns a 33% stake. There's that number 33,
Yeah.
a 33% stake in the Hoffman LaRouche pharmaceutical industry. Its owner, who created the Hoffman LaRouche Pharmaceutical Corporation, was a man by the name of Fritz Hoffman. Okay, LaRouche. Now, LaRouche is not actually his last name. He took on the last name of his wife because he married into European black nobility. So Fritz Hoffman, with the backing of the LaRouche family on his wife's side, in connection to Walter Rothschild, the second Baron in the Rothschild British dynasty, funneled hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay, going back to the 1800s, to Fritz Hoffman to begin the Hoffman LaRouche Pharmaceutical Company. All backed with Rothschild money through Novartis International AG and the Hoffman LaRouche Pharmaceutical AG, both in Basel, Switzerland. And mind you, the Hoffman LaRouche Pharmaceutical Company specializes, okay, in diagnostics and pharmaceutics. Diagnostics, they create the bioweapon, and pharmaceutics, they create the antidote to remove the bioweapon. That's the deep state. This is how they do it, even at Fort Meade in Maryland here.
Now, Bishop, let me ask you a couple questions real quick, because you've been raising so many points and I've been sitting on my hands here. I'm full of questions. Really quick, I'm going to run through like a speed round for you here. This guy, Patrick Soon Shiong, very obviously seems like he's of Chinese descent, raised in South Africa. Yeah. He's invented a drug called Abraxane, which makes me think of Abraxas, which I don't really know exactly what that is, but it was an album with what's that guy's name, Santana, and there was a bar in Amsterdam called Abraxas, and there is a lot of weird imagery surrounding Abraxas. What is Abraxas?
When you look at the term Abraxas, and again, Jason, that's why you're an excellent host. For your listeners, just type in Abraxas, capital A-B-R-A-X-A-S. Now, an Abraxas, okay, is interpreted into, this is where we get the term archon, right? A male Boule, which means demon. So Abraxas is a word that's found in Gnostic texts, all right, such as the Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit, okay? that's connected to the Greek magical papyri, capital Papyri, and the Abraxas stones or coins is a half man, half woman with his two legs that are not human, but they're serpent legs.
Ah,
That's
here it
connected
is.
to, there you go, to the anatomy of Baphomet. So that the term Abraxas also means that which is a hybrid.
Now,
A
wait a minute.
sys-
Wait a minute,
yeah.
Bishop. I'm sorry to interrupt again, but we see Baphomet in a very similar position with a phallic looking shaft sticking up. And here we have a chicken headed weird character with what look like ovaries hanging down.
You see what I mean? So it gets into
And
not
Hebrew writing on the arm.
absolutely. Why? Because Eliphaz Levi was a Hebrew. Nothing against my
Wow.
Jewish brothers and sisters. So that Baphomet and many symbols, as we keep a mental paperclip there to Abraxas, half man, half female, half fish with two legs as a fish. Okay. Now in the Bible, I'm going to talk about Baphomet in a minute, but in the Bible, in the book of First and Second Samuel, okay, the Philistines had worshipped one of their gods was called Abraxas, okay, was half woman, half fish. That's the symbol on the Starbucks coffee cup, Jason.
Oh, right.
Yes, okay.
So what's up with this Abraxas? Why did that guy make a drug called Abraxane? It seems pretty directly related.
Dr. Sun Xiang is connected to the occult. Okay, he's the inventor of the drug Abraxane, right? Capital Abraxane, which has its acronym in the word Abraxas, capital Abraxas, which is rooted in Gnostic occultism. Okay, in the Hermetical Order of the Golden Dawn, right? You talked about that a month ago with Scientology. Abraxas, now on the Abraxas stones, it's a symbol of Gnosticism, okay? And it's a symbol of not only Gnosticism, but this is where you get the term abracadabra. So Abraxas, Abraxine, abracadabra, which means to
Magic.
curse someone, to put
do
a
what?
curse,
To put a
spell.
curse on someone.
Abracadabra, to put a curse or a spell. The words that people use today, cross my heart and hope to die. See, that symbol, that saying goes back to the 1600s in Western Europe, where many occultists, witches, and warlocks were sacrificed children by cutting the letter X on their chest to drain the blood. For the blood to be drank by the participants in that sacrifice. This is where you get the term cross my heart and hope to die. People have no idea what they're saying, Jason. Another term, let's paint the town red. Or again, going back to the 15 and 1600s in Western and Eastern Europe during the European Renaissance, up until that date, where witches and warlocks will go throughout Great Britain, France, okay, throughout the European Empire, and would take the blood of not just goats, but the blood of babies mixed with goats, and would paint the doors of people whom they were going to curse. This is where we get the term, let's paint the town red. Another saying, the elephant in the room, that also comes from Eastern and Western Europe. It also is rooted in Hinduism, where the Hindus worship the elephant as a god. So going back to the time of the European Renaissance, 16, 17, 1800s, in Eastern and Western Europe, they would cut up pieces of the elephant, put them in the rooms, Jason, to bring about a curse on that home. So when that man would come home who owned money to the government or would own money to a family, they would cut up pieces of a elephant and put them in different rooms of that man's house. And this is where we get the term the elephant in the room. See, and again, these are terms or terminologies that people are using and have no idea what they mean. Again, Jason, I thank God for you, man, because you're bringing a lot of information to my mind that people are using. Okay. Now, remember the term here, Godiva, which is the name of a candy bar, right?
Chocolate place, yeah.
Godiva, or go diva, diva, divination, Acts 16:16. So the term go diva, right, is rooted in a woman, okay? And this is by legend now. A woman whose husband was the town mayor and the governor of a particular country, right? She
Hmm.
was married. It's actually rooted in the 11th century English story of a noble woman. Okay, go diva means gift of God, and that anyone in the streets of Coventry in England that owed taxes. Okay, she loved the people so much in Coventry. She got on a horse. That's the logo of Godiva. Got on a horse naked and would ride the horse through the town of Coventry in England. There's multiple Coventries throughout Europe, in France and Switzerland, but specifically in England, going back to the 11th century. And no one was supposed to look upon her, Jason, for fear of death. But there was a man by the name of Peeping Tom. I
Hmm.
kid you not, Jason. This is where we get
Yeah.
the term Peeping Tom. There was a man who called Peeping Tom, who owned a arts craft store, who looked upon the body of Godiva. Well, this is where we get the term Godiva. When people go buy that chocolate, that's where the origin of that story comes from. So these words that we use, elephant in the room, abracadabra, telekinesis, right? When you say, well, I want automatic handwriting. Well, Kobe Bryant wrote, we talked about Wisnard, right? We talked about the legacy of the Queen and Epoch and Ecroft. Kobe Bryant absolutely was a lover of automatic handwriting. Now, what is automatic handwriting?
Yeah.
An individual to invoke a spirit or a demon to take over their minds and their hands. So Kobe wasn't writing Ecroft, the demon was. Kobe wasn't writing Wisnard, the demon was. Kobe wasn't writing the legacy of the Queen, the spirit of the demon was. That's called automatic handwriting. And so people say lucky. That's the acronym for the term Lucifer.
Hmm.
Okay. So these terms cross my heart, hope to die, paint the town red, right? The term baby in the bathwater that
Right.
came out of Eastern and Western Europe, going back to the 1400s, where Satanists were witches and warlocks. Okay, even in Pennsylvania, right in here in the United States, through the Salem witch trials, many of the witches would take their children and sacrifice them by drowning them in tubs of bath of water. That's
Wow.
where we get the term baby, throwing out the baby with the bathwater. See, people have no idea, Jason, what they are saying. So what you did, you have touched a nerve in me of sayings that people have no idea what they mean. It has an origin, okay?
Yeah.
The term turn a blind eye, that goes back to slavery, okay? Where slaves were, their eyes were gouged out because the slave master did not want the slave to look upon him. I know that is horrific, but it's true. Crocodile tears, going back to slavery, where the slave masters would throw the children of the slaves into rivers. So we're talking about in Florida, okay, where crocodiles were located, right? And the slave master said, "Don't cry crocodile tears." That's the origin of the term crocodile tears. And I do apologize for even getting into these sayings, but again, this is all connected to Kobe Bryant a Luciferian project created. The term blood is thicker than water. That is a Luciferian secret society act where the blood that was spilled, we're going back to Europe again. This is nothing against my European brothers and sisters. The 14, 15, and 1600s, all throughout Europe, including parts of China now, they many times the slave masters, even in those countries, would take their slaves, whether they were African or even white, and they would take that slave and oftentimes drain the blood of that slave, okay? And the slave master who was done, he would take the blood of that slave and bathe himself in blood in order to be buried. I know, Jason, this is sick. This is horrific.
Yeah,
This
why
is
would they even want that?
blood is thicker than water, okay? And so these terms that we use, and especially cross my heart in hope to die. People have no idea what that means. The term cat got your tongue, that's another origin word that's rooted in Luciferian worship, okay? Where the tongues of those that were to be initiated in many of the European Masonic and Satanic orders, their tongues were cut out and given to cats as a meal.
Oh,
That's
God.
cat got your tongue. You see, again, every time we say these words, we have no idea what they mean. So then, again, I thank God for you, Jason, bringing out these terms, okay? Even going back, don't get, and I do apologize for getting away from Abraxine.
No, it's okay. I
Yeah.
sent you on this path, so it's okay. I have one more thing for us to look at, Bishop, and then we've got to wrap it up because we're way, way over our hour, but it's been worth it. Now, we've had an explosion of comments that I apologize to the viewers I haven't been able to address because it takes everything I've got to keep up with the Bishop. But when we were talking before about Comet Pizza, someone mentioned that there's a pizzeria in San Francisco called Goat Hill Pizza, which is weird.
Really?
There's a lot of hills in San Francisco, and we know that Baphomet is kind of a goat, sort of a thing. And so we have this Goat Hill Pizza. Now, the commenter said that this is owned by Nancy Pelosi. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's interesting to note that it's located on Connecticut Avenue in San Francisco, which I did not realize was the name of a street in San Francisco. It's also interesting to note that when we look at a slightly higher resolution image of their logo, it may at least be suggestive of these swirls. And certainly if you were a pizzeria owner who was alive in the United States in 2016, I think you would be aware that this is not a good thing to have associated with your pizza place. But I want people to keep in mind this Connecticut address.
Wow.
And note that Comet Ping Pong Pizza is on Connecticut Avenue Northwest in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
So why is that? That seems remarkably coincidental.
And that cannot be by coincidence. And Jason, again, I thank God for you because you're connecting, you're hitting nerves with me. There is a donut shop, okay, in Portland, Oregon called Voodoo Donut.
Yeah.
VOODOO Donut, okay? That its theme is good things come in pink boxes. So when you look at the logo of Voodoo Donut, and I believe they got certain satellites throughout the United States, Voodoo Donut's logo is a little bear or like a stuffed animal with the @ sign, like the email sign, but it's the @ sign. That's one of the pedophilia symbols put out by the FBI. So Voodoo Donut, who owns Voodoo Donut? See, again, Voodoo Donut, when you look at that insignia with the @ sign in the little bear or the ghost or an animal there, that stuffed animal, okay, or stuffed bear, okay, whatever type of animal that is with the @ sign in the middle, that's one of the pedophilia symbols.
I think they've changed it. Look, they have this new weird, here's the old logo.
See the old, can you show that, Chase? Oh, man. See? So it was exposed actually
Right.
by conservatives like you and I. It was exposed. So they changed, right? They changed their logo, and I know President Trump has been exposing them, just like little kids on social media. But look at and thank you for showing the old logo to your listeners, right?
Mm.
That ant sign in the middle of the stomach of this animal is pedophilia.
Well, it seems like a puppet to me,
Yes,
like a
absolutely.
hand puppet.
Absolutely. And so when all of your listeners, and we want to end it here today, all of your listeners, if I can just give your listeners some a homework, in 2 weeks, I'll be out of town next week, but I'll be back the week after next. So then, pedophilia symbols in corporate America. Again, pedophilia symbols in corporate America, whether it's banking, real estate, right? Education. All of these symbols are saturated with pedophilia signs, okay? Pedophilia symbols. Look at the Amazon logo, okay? Not to get too graphic, the Amazon logo, and excuse me, Jason, it looks like a penis. Okay. Now people say, well, Bishop, you're trying to look. No, I'm not trying to look for something that doesn't exist. But the Amazon logo, okay, for your listeners, it looks like the anatomy of a man. Okay.
You're right.
You see? So that's not by accident. So it starts with A and it goes to Z. Okay. From A to Z, that represents the alphabet from A to Z.
Yeah.
So then Jeff Bezos is not an idiot. So these people are infiltrating demonic signs. And it's like one of your listeners sent, I believe, on your Twitter wall, the Chicago Bulls logo we talked
Oh,
about
yeah.
last week.
Yeah. The robot reading or raping.
Exactly. So we're going to leave it there today. And that is the end of the 4-part series of Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created.
Yeah. Well, Bishop, it's been a fantastic series. And that was really interesting to me last week when you showed us this robot sodomizing something, which is the Chicago Bulls logo upside down. It's absolutely bizarre. And Bishop, we'll communicate offline. Perhaps there'll be an opportunity to record a show that we could play in your time slot next week. If not, we'll resume the week after. And I want to remind everybody, Bishop, that they can support the global spiritual revolution by going to paypal.me/GSRR Media Group. And they can support Crowdsource the Truth by becoming a sponsor on subscribestar.com/crowdsource the truth or patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. And sponsors of Crowdsource the Truth enjoy a huge and growing library of sponsor exclusive content. And it's going to be growing even more tonight at 8 p.m. with Mike Moore of True Pundit and another episode of More Pain. Bishop, people can also listen to you on the radio on liferadionj.com/Gaiters. And please tell us some of the other places where people can hear your show.
Yeah, USARadio.com, USARadio.com every Friday from 9 to 11 p.m. Also on the iHeartRadio network in the iHeart Media Group, all connected to both the Life Radio network 92.9 FM, 1460 AM, liferadionj.com, liferadionj.com every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 9. But because of my health, I'm recovering. I do it every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. Also, they can subscribe to our YouTube channel. All they have to do is type in Global Spiritual Revolution Radio. Again, Global Spiritual Revolution Radio. For a third time, all they have to do is type in Global Spiritual Revolution Radio on YouTube, and it comes up to our channel. or just GSRR Media, GSRR Media. And all of our broadcasts, all my teachings are there. And people can always send me messages, email me with your permission, Jason, at Global Spiritual Revolution Radio at yahoo.com, Global Spiritual Revolution Radio at yahoo.com. And please, to your listeners, please, if you can give $100, $200, whatever you can afford, because it takes money to sustain a global radio program like Global Spiritual Revolution Radio. So please go and take your credit card and go to paypal.me/GSRR Media Group. Again, paypal.me/GSRR Media Group. paypal.me/GSRR Media Group. And that's on the screen there, on Jason's screen. Please give what you can, $50, $100, $200, $500. That will go a long way so that we can continue to pay to be on the radio on an international level. We're one of the most listened to talk shows on iHeartRadio. That's why we're a part of the iHeart Media Group, that we average between 20 to 25 million listeners per week. So thank you so much, Jason. I'm looking forward to starting a new series with you. And this is a mind-blowing, mind-transformational series, Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project created.
It absolutely is, Bishop, and I have to thank you for, I mean, it's an honor for me to have you on Crowdsource the Truth, and I think you're introducing viewers of Crowdsource the Truth to numerous topics that a lot of people, including me, had never heard anything about before. So thank you so much for another excellent show. Safe travels, and I'll see everybody later tonight. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Jason.